hello, everybody, and welcome back to the second episode of my new trial here by Frankie J, host of the show Frankie J Raw, always live here on Fireside. But this is my second week on doing what's called Frankie J's Take. And what I do is just give you the NFL teams of that week who I think is going to win, who I think is going to lose, and kind of a little reason why. And then I always go over the past week on my picks and losses and upsets. So why don't we get this party started? I'll go ahead and get up online here. And here I am, everybody, Frankie J in the live, in the flesh. But anyways, it was a real interesting weekend of football this past week. A lot of upsets, surprises, and wouldn't be a complete week in the NFL without some sort of crazy season ending injury, which in fact did happen. And one that I think here on my last show, my first pilot show of Frankie J's Take, where I predicted a certain player would get injured, and he got injured this past week and for the season. Just his style of play just indicated that that was going to happen. I watch very closely when I watch these football games, and I watch the style of play and the way they get tackled. And sometimes they are reckless, they are in the moment. And I can't say, well, I would have or would not have done that. I have played sports competitively, hockey most of all, but you say you're going to do something or not do something. And when you get out there and you're in that heat of the moment, man, you're just like in the game, right? It happens. It happens to even the pros. They get out there and they lose train of thought for that quick second. Because what a lot of people don't realize, and this isn't to cut down, but when an NFL quarterback takes a snap, on average, he's literally got 2 seconds of time to make a decision. And look at all of his receivers, tight ends make their routes. 2 seconds. I mean, 2 seconds. One, two, boom. If he doesn't have the ball out by then, he's either running or he's on the ground. And that's where the athletic quarterback is becoming a favorite, like your Lamar Jacksons, your Trey Lances, your Josh Allen, your Russell Wilsons, who's really was one of the pioneers of it, and Cam Newton, who's not playing right now. A lot of these organizations are going after these style of quarterbacks to try to lengthen their amount of time on the team and to build a franchise around them. And playing that way has its benefits, obviously. However, on the other side of the spectrum, has its negatives. So, me as a hardcore Buffalo Bills fan, as most of you already know, our quarterback is the best in the league right now. Um, but he likes to run and stiff arm people and run and get that extra yard, maybe two, by not sliding and taking himself out of harm's way. That's a youngster. That's a guy who's still growing up and maturing in the National Football League. It only takes that one hit, folks. That one hit that's going to take a player out either for a week, 2 weeks, a month, a year, or forever. There are players, if you look in history on Google, there are players that literally played one down in the NFL and were done for their career based on a hit, an ankle injury, something that happened on a non physical activity. They could be running a route and they were on artificial turf and they twisted their ankle the right way, out for life. It's the risk you take when you become a professional football player. But not to be sappy and annoying, I do have a good show in store for you. The first thing I want to do is go over all the games last week that I picked and won and the ones that I did lose. So for week two, it started off on Thursday night, the 15th of September, where the Chargers played the Kansas City Chiefs. I picked the Chiefs. The Chiefs did win. On Sunday, all the games on Sunday, I picked the Cleveland Browns to beat the New York Jets, and it was in fact the other way around where the Jets beat the Browns, and it was an upset. Joe Flacco, backup quarterback to Zach Wilson, came in and took control and showed a little bit of a glimpse of the old Joe Flacco on knowing how to run a team and manage a clock, so on and so forth. Moving on, I picked the Detroit Lions to get um, their first win of the year and beat Washington, and they did in fact do that. So I win there. So I always like to keep track of these because for me it's something fun to do. It's something different. So I always like to count my wins. So I picked Cleveland, I picked Detroit, and then we moved on to the New Orleans against Tampa Bay. I did in fact take Tampa Bay, and they did in fact win. I picked Carolina over the Giants, and I was upset. Giants are now 2-0 with our old offensive coordinator from the Bills, Brian Dable. So I do give a big congratulations to the Giants organization to finally having, in my mind, is a consistent winning coach, and he deserves it. And I hope he turns that organization around. They've been on the outs for a long time, so this might be the answer to all you Giants fans out there. This might be an answer to all your prayers. So embrace it while you have it. I did pick Pittsburgh to beat New England, and New England is the one that won. They pulled out a real big win there against Steelers. And then I had the Colts over the Jaguars, and the Jacksonville Jaguars um, did, in fact, win their first game of the year by beating the Indianapolis Colts. So that was another upset of the week. Miami absolutely destroyed Baltimore. So I don't have to go into too much detail there. I did pick Baltimore because they were at home, but Miami and Tua, the quarterback, took over on that game, and got to give it to the Dolphins there. And then we had Atlanta at the Rams. The Rams did win that game. Atlanta did give them a good game, though, so not to take away from them. But the big game and big news I got here is the Seattle Seahawks played the San Francisco 49ers. Unfortunately, early in the game, Trey Lance went out with a season-ending injury. That was the one I predicted, in fact. So Jimmy G came in and picked up where he left off the last time he played for the 49ers and took them on to a really, really good win there. So I did pick them to win, so I'll take that. And then it was Cincinnati at Dallas. This should have been an easy win for Cincinnati. However, Cincinnati went in there and does what Cincinnati normally does, and that's make dumb plays. And they're waking people up again to the fact that they might not be as good as they were last year, or they were never that good and they just got lucky in the playoffs. Either way, they're now 0-2. The Cowboys managed to pull that one out and win. I picked them. And then we had Denver and Houston, and Denver got their first win of the year by beating the Houston Texans, and Russell Wilson made some really much needed plays in that game. So good for you, Russell. Stick up for yourself and take the game over sometimes on your own if you have to. You're a professional. You've earned that right, and I suggest you do it. Then we had the Arizona Cardinals with the Vegas, Vegas Raiders. So I took Arizona in that game, and whatchamacallit, um, and I believe Vegas won that game. I don't even know. I thought I had that one marked. But in any event, then we had Chicago at Green Bay. Green Bay, they just took over. I made mention last week on the show that Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers would bounce back. They would make the changes and adjustments as needed to win these games week by week. And he did use a lot of his veteran receivers. His Randall Cobb, Lazar was back, and they used the running game. They used Jones, and they managed to circle their receiving game around the running game. So they did do a really good thing by making those few changes, and they made them, and they won. So they got that one. In any event, Arizona did beat Vegas, and then we had our two Monday night games, our doubleheader, one of which was my Buffalo Bills against the Tennessee Titans for our home opener, and then Minnesota at Philadelphia. And Buffalo, let's just say this, they made beating the Titans look like a practice, a scrimmage. Titans had no chance from the opening whistle until the final buzzer. They had no chance. I mean, Josh Allen was on fire, and Stephon Diggs, 3 touchdowns. The Bills showed what the Bills are going to do all season long. And Josh, you still have to work on getting down and not putting yourself out there to get hit. You did make some minor improvements in that category, so good for you and good for our Buffalo Bills. Buffalo Bills, baby, Bills Mafia all the way this year. And then Philadelphia had a convincing win over the visiting Minnesota Vikings. Now, the Minnesota Vikings, Kirk Cousins, I'm not a fan of, never have been. I think he's just been in a couple lucky situations that deemed him a NFL competitive quarterback. And I think the Vikings really need to take a really deep look at who they have and maybe make a trade and bring someone in that has some more, game in them. I just don't think Kirk Cousins is the answer for your prayers. So for week 2, that gave me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 15 of 16. Well, hang on a second. I counted wrong. Excuse me. Um, yeah, so I went 15 for 16 games. I only missed one game, which is not bad. So I'm happy with that. I only missed one game. I picked all the other ones as winners. So 15 of 16. And we got a really big week 3 coming up here. And it starts tonight, folks. 8:20 Thursday Night Football. We got the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Cleveland Browns, and this is a huge rivalry, and it's an exciting game always to watch. Even if you're not a fan of either team, this is the game you want to watch. If the Steelers ever play the Browns, watch that game. Something always happens. But Pittsburgh is having a little bit of issue at quarterback right now. Their offense is kind of lagging. The fans aren't happy. The fans are chanting, bring in their first Pickett to play. He's their first round pick quarterback. And Mitchell Trubisky, who backed up Josh Allen the last couple of seasons before this year, unfortunately, he's the one taking the heat right now. And I just hope he picks it up. They're sticking with Mitch. Mitch, I know he'll turn it around. He thinks too much. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take Pittsburgh tonight. They're going to be in Cleveland. It's going to be a hostile environment. And with Mitch knowing the press, media, and fans are on him, I think he turns it around starting tonight. And then we go into our Sunday games. We got Houston visiting Chicago. Houston is just Houston, and Chicago is Chicago. But they got Justin Fields, and Justin Fields, he's a baller. So I'm going to go ahead and take them over the Houston Texans. I don't do point spreads or over unders, just so everybody knows. I like to keep it fun and simple. So then we got the Vegas Raiders at the Tennessee Titans, and the Tennessee Titans coming off a huge loss to the Buffalo Bills. Sorry, guys. I see them picking it back up and taking a win here at home on Sunday. And then we got Kansas City at Indianapolis. I just don't think the Colts have the manpower to stop Patrick Mahomes when he gets going. And I like the Kansas City Chiefs to go into Indy and make it an easy win. So we're going to go with Kansas City. I'm obviously going to take the Bills over Miami. We're going to go down to Miami, and it's going to be like a weekend vacation for us. So then we go on to Detroit at Minnesota. That's a toughie because Minnesota is going to be at home after a really sour taste in their mouth Monday night loss to the Eagles. And I really think that I want to take them. I'm going to take them at home with the Lions coming in because the Lions are coming off of a really big win and a really big high. Sometimes younger players like to take that high and lay it over into the next game when they should just forget that past game, even win or lose, and focus on the game in hand. And I hate to say it, but I think Detroit loses that one and they do it on their own. So I'm taking the Vikings. Then we move on to Baltimore at New England. I don't feel Mac Jones is their guy or he's that guy yet. I'm going to go ahead and take Baltimore on the road in New England, Gillette Stadium, and taking the Patriots there. And then Cincinnati at the Jets. I got to take Cincinnati over the Jets just because. Sorry, Jets. I know you're coming off a big win, but you do have Joe Flacco, and Cincinnati's got a couple good defensive plays. We got Philadelphia at Washington. This is a really, really good one, too. Carson Wentz has been playing top of his game as well as Jalen Hurts at quarterback with Philadelphia. But he makes a lot of mistakes. So I'm going to take Philly on this one on the road. New Orleans at Carolina. I like Carolina to take New Orleans in this one. Baker Mayfield coming off a couple of sour losses. And then we got Jacksonville at the LA Chargers. Jacksonville, you're 1-1. I do like the Chargers in this one, though. There's going to be a pass rush coming at you that you've never seen before. Khalil Mack, Bosa, the whole boat. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Chargers. And then Rams at Arizona. What do I do there? Well, Arizona isn't really top of their game like I thought they'd be. So I will go ahead and pick the Rams in that one on the road. And then Atlanta is visiting Seattle. Geno Smith had a really good game week 1, but that was against Russell Wilson of the Broncos, so I think he had pumped himself up a little bit. I don't think he's that great of a quarterback. I'm going to go ahead and take Atlanta on the road at Seattle on that one. Now, Green Bay and Tampa Bay, that's going to be a really good game. That's a tough one to pick. I'm going to pick Tampa Bay at home against Aaron Rodgers. I'm just doing it because it's Tom Brady, and they're at home, and Aaron Rodgers is coming off a really, really, really big high. So I don't like it for him. Now we got the San Francisco 49ers at the Denver Broncos. I'm going to go with Jimmy G and the 49ers on the road against the Denver Broncos. I just don't like the coaching staff with the Broncos. I think Nathaniel Hackett is just that. He's a hack. I don't like that that those plays that he's called. I'm not a fan. I'm not a favorite of that. He's not a good play caller, if you ask me. He's just not. He he was horrible when he was here in Buffalo as an offensive coordinator when he had some weapons and he just didn't know how to use them. So I'm gonna just go with that route and take the Niners over Denver. And then for our Monday night game, we got Dallas at the Giants. I am gonna go ahead and take the Giants there at home. Dallas is running with their backup quarterback Cooper Rush. Uh, I just don't. I see the Giants starting their season off 3-0, and with Prescott being out for a few weeks, I don't like them winning that. So those are my picks for Week 3. If anybody has any different take on it, or they want to tell me what they think of all my picks, go ahead and look at the ticker there. I got my website, which is frankiejexperience.com, or you can shoot me an email at info@frankiejexperience.com. Let me know what you think of the game picks that I picked this week, and let me know if there's anything that you'd like to see on the show or something that you would like me to take off the show. Feedback, reviews, criticism, I take it all. And until next time, folks, I will be back next week for yet another take on what my picks are going to be, wins, losses, news, headlines, all of the above. And let's have a safe weekend of football, and everybody, let's go Buffalo.